a perfect score on their ACT and received the Presidential Scholarship from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. This feat reflects not only their exceptional talent, but their dedication, resilience, and hard work. We cannot wait to see the impact that they will continue to make in the world, and we will be cheering them on every step of the way. I want to say congratulations on this extraordinary achievement to Lincoln East High School's Nicholas Lee and Sarah Kai, Lincoln Northeast High School's Braden Thielander, and I want to acknowledge Braden's twin brother also did really well, Southwest High School's Ripley Becker, and Northwest High School's first ever perfect ACT score in Timofey Prokopich. I practiced this today, Prokopchuk, and just so proud of them for what they have done. We're fortunate in the Lincoln Public Schools to have great community partners like UNL who help us prepare students for successful careers, lifelong learning, and for civic engagement. I want to thank the Nebraska University system and especially President Dr. Jeffrey Gold, as he was here yesterday helping us celebrate our students' achievements. And then I would just like to close my report today with an item of personal note. As noted in the media, I'm choosing to retire from the community eye as the public school superintendent of LPS after this year, my 20th year as a school superintendent. I'm proud of my work in 3 different school districts as superintendent, my 30 years total as a school administrator, and my decade before that as a director of bands in public schools. Public schools are the backbone of America and are so important to our future success. And the Lincoln Public Schools are very special. What makes LPS special can be enumerated in many ways, but tonight I would like just to take a moment to focus on the people. I'm so proud of our work together during my tenure here. I was a very small part of these outcomes, but I celebrate with the team that I have pride for our work together to yield a well-established multi-year strategic plan. Growth in high school enrollment growth in enrollment to pre-pandemic levels, growth in high school enrollment in our Career Academy and Focus programs. Our latest 4-year graduation rate increased by nearly 4%. We've implemented student behavior initiatives that are truly making a difference. We have initiated positive programs to impact staff retention, recruitment, and culture. We have expanded early childhood programming and facilities, and there's still more on the way, to better serve our community. We've successfully, during my time here, opened a new elementary and 2 new high schools. And we brought closure to our foundation campaign, the one we just heard about, with the last edition that I participated in, receiving over $2 million in donations. These accomplishments, all of them, occur because of people. I want to acknowledge the superintendent's cabinet this evening, of which I am so proud. Dr. Standish and Laura Maxwell were both here in their current roles before my arrival, but I have told them more than once I would hire each of them again 10 times over. Liz is the foremost expert in school funding in the state of Nebraska, and Laura is one of the best executive assistants with whom I have ever worked. She's just spectacular to work with. I'd like to acknowledge Dr. Price, Dr. Salem, Dr. Gelati, Dr. Skretta, as I helped bring you on this team in your current roles. I hope you know, I really do. I hope that I've shown you. I hope you know how much I admire your leadership acumen. I also want to mention our Chief Technology Officer, Kirk Langer, our Director of Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Department, and I'm proud that that's a department now in Brittany Hodges-Bolkovec. Our Executive Director of Communications, not just Director of Communications, Executive Director of Communications, Mindy Burbach, and our lead in curriculum and our ESU Administrator, and Dr. Olson. I want the community to know that if they had such a thing in America as the Central Office Public School Leadership Olympics, this group of leaders that I just mentioned, I would put them up against anyone in the country and they would win the gold. Your leadership moves mountains and will move our students forward well into the future. To the directors also in this room, I note your strength as well. Our principals, our directors, our coordinators are at the very heart of this organization. Our partnership with LEA and our instructional staff are the lifeblood of this organization, and I'm thankful that our school board cares very much about serving students in Lincoln. Thank you for that. However, we must focus on all positions as leaders, and it's just as important to note that our custodial staff, transportation team, food service workers, operations staff, and all positions, I can't name them all, they all are leadership positions in a district, and we all work together to move this district forward. On an item of personal note, if I may, as I look at the end of my 20-year career as a superintendent of schools, I want to thank my family members. Our son Trevor and his wife Sydney, and our grandchild Kason Porter Gausman, who is very likely a future LPS student. And of course, our daughter Kaya and her husband Conrad. To Trevor and Kaya, growing up with your father as a school superintendent can really be a burden, but you did it very well. You are each an independent thinker, making a difference in our world. I also want to thank my mother, who recently moved here. Her name is Jean Gausman. She lives here in Lincoln, for her consistent support. And finally, as an item of personal note, I'd like to thank my rock, my best friend, and my wife, Susie. She wanted me to make sure and let you know that she would be here if it weren't for her own board meeting in her own organization this evening. You do know how boards can be. Susie is an incredibly successful executive in her own right. Susie is an attorney. She's the CEO of the Nebraska Orthopedic Center. And we are right now on year 35 of Paul and Susie's excellent adventure. With this announcement, you will see that I have determined it's time for me to focus more on my family and change the name of our journey to Susie and Paul's excellent adventure. I'm so proud of Susie and all that she does and all that she has put up with these 20 years as with her husband being a public figure. You know, some have said that the public schools are under great challenge right now, and I suspect that's got some truth to it, but I know that Lincoln Public Schools have a bright future ahead due to leaders at all levels of this organization who will continue to focus on student needs. Our students have opportunities because you chose to lead. Thank you for doing so. And with that, I close my report.
Thank you, Paul. I also have some comments from the board. So, as Paul mentioned, he took over the leadership of LPS during a time we were coming out of a pandemic. It was a tough time to take over. And as he said, our new data shows that not only have we recovered our graduation rates, they're actually better than they were the year before the pandemic. Paul's priorities outlined in the superintendent transition plan moved the district forward as we work to develop a new strategic plan, which we are working on now. The restructuring of the executive team put a renewed focus on addressing student behavior and led to the creation of the behavior framework, along with the implementation of district-wide cell phone expectations and digital hall passes. Under Paul's watch, the district also strengthened the Grow Our Own initiatives to recruit and retain a diversified workforce that more closely resembles the students whom we serve. And our latest data also shows we are making progress in that initiative. In addition, Paul led the charge to increase the number of early childhood offerings in our district and communicate more effectively